Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Benchmark, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. That rapper jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You playing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tuning now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow.
I ain't seen from now. Miles, he was really.
Benchmark Podcast. What's up, bro?
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT. We got CJ back in the building. We got to think of a new moniker for him because we obviously know the money bags is with Greg. But CJ, how you doing tonight?
Well, hold on. I didn't approve that name change. I still got money now. Greg may got some money now too, but the money bag name need to stay with me. I'm doing good though.
All right, CJ Moneybags. And then we got Miles, Nick's Tate, Davenport. How you doing tonight?
I'm straight. I'm feeling good.
Greg, how are you doing tonight?
Hate everybody and everything.
We're going to start right there. We're just going to start right there. It just happened. For those
We need
that
some
are
context.
Shout out to those that are watching on YouTube, wherever you're listening at. Shout out to y'all. Keep listening. Share it with a friend. Rate us 5 stars. But if you pay attention at all to the show, we know Greg is a Nets fan. The Nets lost. They 0-2 to Boston. Are the Nets actually in trouble, or is it going to go? They get back to Brooklyn, tie it up, go to 6. Should the Nets be scared?
Yeah, they should be scared. I mean, anytime you're down 0-2 in a series, your chances aren't great. Your chances are take a hit. You can come back from 0-2. It happened twice in the playoffs last year, at least. Yeah, and honestly, if I'm being honest with you, the least of what I expect from the Nets is to go to Brooklyn and win 2 games. Like I expect from KD and Kyrie. If KD and Kyrie can't pull that off by themselves and win 2 games in Brooklyn on their home floor and protect home court the same way the Celtics just did, then there's some serious discussions to be had about the level of greatness that we hold some of these guys to. Seriously, as skilled as they are, and I know I'm changing my tune. No, they're skilled, they're great, all-time great, cool. Yes, they don't ever change, whatever. But the conversations that you're putting them in, you need to change it. You need to change the conversation you're putting them in because if LeBron did what KD did tonight, like if LeBron ever did that, LeBron's never done that, never looked that bad over the span of 2 games in the playoffs in his entire life, even when he was a baby and he just got into the NBA. If LeBron ever looked that bad, we would never hear the end of it. He would never live it down. It would constantly be a topic of conversation. That's just the facts. Like, you can't go 0-10 second half of a playoff game and have 15 turnovers in a game and like 25 over the span of like 2 games. You can't do that. That's not acceptable. I don't care what kind of defense they're playing. I don't care if they're fouling him on every possession. They are. They're fouling him every possession. It's a constant foul. They're constantly reaching. Yes, facts. Whatever. You can't do that. You got to overcome those things. You got to do some kind of Chris Paul rip through the draw fouls when they're standing that close to you. There's no excuse. So, yeah, I mean, I expect them to tie it up 2 games. I expect it. But would I be surprised if they go down 3-0? No. No, not with the way Steve Nash is coaching. No, not with the way Steve Nash is coaching at all. I also blame him. But I won't go and get on my soapbox too much. I'm disgusted with these guys.
Hey, do y'all think possibly, I mean, a stat just came out too. Maybe he, at this point, is tired. KD's last 11 games, it's only been 1 game where he played under like 40 minutes. Every game is 42, 44, 45, 39, 37, 42 minutes.
Welcome to LeBron's world. Welcome to LeBron's world, isn't it? When LeBron was his age, wasn't that all LeBron did? play 40 minutes when he had bums like Dellavedova playing basketball with him and Eric Snow and Danielle Marshall. The list is extensive. And he was playing 50 minutes a game. And I never heard that excuse for LeBron. I don't want to hear it. There's no excuse for KD. Go brush your hair and go play better basketball. That's it. Like, there's no other excuse. I don't want to hear it. Like, when people talk about you being top 10 all time, like top 10 all time don't look like that. That's crazy. Ever. No, figure it out. They're sitting double teams at you. They're not doing nothing special. They're sitting double teams at you, and they're playing a zone up top. You keep dribbling as far as you can into two defenders. You're dribbling, trying to get to the elbows. Stop that. Like, stop calling for screens too. They're blitzing it and just sending doubles at you. Adjust. It's not that hard. And that's what I'm saying, is bad coaching all around. It is, but that's okay. There's a silver lining in all of this. Steve Nash gets the hammer. I'm going to feel really good about that. I know I got KD for 4 more years, whatever it is. I know I got Kyrie going to extend, and you got Ben and these guys. They're going to extend. This will be in the conversation for the next 5 years, 6 years. That's fine. You get rid of a coach. You get rid of this guy and get a real coach in here. That's the bottom line. You can't keep him here after this. I don't care if they win the series. I don't care if they win the championship. I don't care. You got to fire him. Like, I don't see he's getting out coached by a guy who's never had the job before. Great job, Ime Udoka. Great. We told you that what he's done successfully is make the series as ugly as possible. That's what he's playing. Ugly 1980s basketball. Slowing it down. Compressing every driving lane. Doubling the superstar every time they touch the ball. Reaching every time they get the ball. Their hands are very active. They're fouling. They're wrestling out there. But you know what? They're playing within the whistle. If they're not getting called for fouls, that's great coaching. That's what you have to call it. Seriously. But it's terrible coaching on Steve Nash's part. I've seen plenty of times LeBron's been very, like, they've been very vocal for LeBron in series and other superstars in series where the coach will come out and be like, yo, we got to call these fouls. In the press conference, you're putting pressure on these dudes. In the game, Steve Nash has to get thrown out of a game. You have to get thrown out. When your stars are getting fouled like that, you have to get thrown out of the game. You have to make a mockery out of it, because you're just allowing it to continue. Like, you have to get visibly, demonstrably angry, get thrown out of a game. It matters. Those things matter. You have to play the game psychologically too. And Steve Nash sucks at it. He's not a good coach. And I don't got time. Any Brooklyn fan would agree with this. Any basketball fan would agree with this. When you're on a championship timeline, I don't have time for a rookie coach to grow up in front of my eyes. I'm trying to win a championship. I don't have time for you to figure this stuff out on the fly. This is ridiculous. Only a white person gets the benefit of that to do what he's doing right now. There's no black guy in America. There's no Indian guy in America. There's no Asian guy in America that gets a chance to do what he's doing, learning on the fly. He's not qualified for the job. He's not qualified. So he's got to go. That's the bottom line.
Hey, Miles, I think, if I recall correctly, before the series started, I think we did mention that Boston's defense would be a factor this series.
Yeah, no doubt. And as you can see that in the way this series is playing out, they're a little too much for Brooklyn to handle. I mean, Kyrie went off in game one, but he was quiet in this game. It wasn't as aggressive. And KD was aggressive, but they were all over him. Like, he had zero space to move in this game. So I don't know. I don't even know if it's Celtics in 6 at this point. It could be shorter than that. So I'm sorry, Greg. You don't have to give me the Chick-fil-A. It's all right. It's okay.
But yo, that was the problem though. Like, you mentioned it. Like, Kyrie wasn't as aggressive in this game, but like in the second half, he really didn't have the chance to, because the ball was always in KD's hand. And even when KD was facing that double team, KD was getting trapped. He was trying to do too much by himself. He was trying to take it to the lane and force up these crazy shots when, you got to get Kyrie. And maybe that comes back to the coaching, right? Steve Nash needs to find a way to get Kyrie more involved and other players more involved when he sees his star player struggling. Force for 17 down the stretch, 6 turnovers. Like, come on. You got to do better than that.
Hey, you mentioned that. Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown.
Yeah, let's talk about Jalen Brown.
Them boys over there, they share the rock. They know how to. All the stars tonight in this game sucked booty. Mm-hmm. But the difference is Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown did other things to affect the game. Tatum, 8 or 9 assists again tonight? Yo, it's a different Boston team. This is not the same Boston team that started off the season. How they're playing, they really might be a favorite in the East. We mentioned they might be a dark horse. We laughed and giggled like, nah, not Boston. It's just something missing there. Robert Williams comes back. They get out this series. This is what you live for, to have what the Nets have. You got 2 stars. When it come down to the point of the crunch time, the last 2 minutes, Boston stars showed up. Tatum, Brown, big shots, all that fourth quarter to get them back into the game.
Richard came in and had some big shots too. Like the ball was in everybody's hands.
I think this Nets team, we see it is really there's no real offense to it. And we've talked about it before. With the Nets, it's kind of like take turns. You go, I go. No, you go. No, you go. And they both wasn't on tonight. The only person that seemed to came ready to play ball was
Bruce Brown.
When the shots aren't falling like that, you can't keep up defensive intensity. It gets in your head. It's hard. And I think a lot of the shots that KD had where he was relatively open, you're expecting a foul because you've been getting hit all game. I can understand the psychological effects that this kind of defense has on you because they're not even allowing you to move off ball. Like he's trying to get to a spot off the ball, like just running from the 3-point line to a spot. And there's a Celtic with their head in his jersey. It's not legal. A smart coach throws a fit. You throw a fit. You literally curse someone out. Like you have to make an example of someone. You got to make a fool out of someone until you start getting those calls because KD is a superstar. So you can't let that stuff go happen. You got to at least try something. And I'm saying like there's just a lack of veteran leadership from the coaching on that team. But I mean, it's hard. The Nets did a good job defensively. I didn't think that defensively they did good. I know defensively they can be good when they're engaged. I've been saying that. I've never worried about that. But offensively, when it's as simple as sending cutters back door or sending cutters off the ball to alleviate some of the pressure on your ball handlers, and you're not doing that, you're not making that simple adjustment in the game. That's what worries me. That's not because I would do it. I would do that. That's the thing. And Steve Nash didn't. And I coach AAU for 17-year-olds. Like these guys are going D3, and I'm calling this crap. And I don't understand how someone can be in Steve Nash's position and not be able to see exactly what's happening, call timeout. There's so many things schematically he does wrong. This is the worst. Like, think of in any other field, if you work, I don't care. If you work anywhere, if you bag groceries, you have a day this bad, as bad as Steve Nash had, you're getting fired on the spot. There's no other industry where you can be that bad on any given day and live to see another day in that industry. And he's gonna walk up there tomorrow and give some BS quote about Ben Simmons, and we're gonna go to game 3 and we'll see how it goes. They're gonna play the same defense. If they make no adjustments, they're gonna lose again.
Who vouched for Steve Nash to be the coach?
Sure, whatever. To hell with both of their opinions. KD and Kyrie did. To hell with both their opinions. I always thought that was stupid. It didn't matter as much when you had James Harden here because James Harden at the least is just a threat. He at least it changes things. It changes the way defense have to play you. They could never play this defense if you had James Harden on the court. You can't. I'm not sure they can play this defense even with Ben Simmons on the court. Ben can't shoot, but Ben does a lot of things really well. And if he catches the ball in the middle of the floor, he's gonna make a play. He's gonna go dunk it, or something good's gonna happen. He's gonna make the right pass. But that's what I'm saying. That's when coaching has to happen. If you're not coaching, if you're just sitting there hoping KD saves you or Kyrie saves you every night, which he does, which Steve Nash does, good luck. But look, their recommendation does not matter at this point. You're underachieving. Your goal is to win a championship. So at this point, if they lose this series, which it looks like they probably will, then he's got to get fired. He's got to get fired. You can't be serious. You can't call yourself serious about winning a championship and Steve Nash still has a job at the end of this. He has to be fired. He should be fired tonight. I'd fire his ass on the plane. I swear.
That's not possible, but a coach that actually is coaching well got his first playoff win, first season. Willie Green, Pelicans tie up that series. And not the same question. Is Phoenix in trouble? Should there be any cause for concern? D-Book is out game 3 and 4. We talked about it. We said the Pelicans was a really dangerous team. I didn't think, and we all said this, we did not think the Clippers were the better team to beat Phoenix. That was a team that Phoenix wanted to see because that'll probably be a cakewalk without Devin Booker. But this Pelicans team going back to New Orleans, what y'all thinking about that?
You got some dogs on that team. I mean, BI is hooping, and this is his first playoff experience right now, and he's showing that he's box office right now, and he's putting up numbers. Like he almost had a triple double in the last game, and then you add CJ McCollum. Like that was such an underrated trade that they made. All these other teams could have made that trade. They didn't have to give up that much to get CJ, but they added him at the deadline. And now they're 1-1 against the best team all year. And I think mainly it was because Devin Booker got hurt and he sat out. And I think it was kind of like a shock factor. Like he was carrying them in the first half. Then all of a sudden this guy is out. Now who do you go to? Which shouldn't be a question. Like this is the best team in the league. They should have other options than going to D-Book, but he's an MVP candidate, so that's a tough loss for them. So I think Pelicans, if they take another one at home in game 3, then that's when you start to worry, like, oh, Suns, are you going to be one and done in the playoffs, or are you going to be resilient? Because most people are picking them to make the finals. And D-Book's already been ruled out for the next 2 games, so now you got to figure out who is going to step up. Like, is it going to be Cameron Johnson? Mikal Bridges has to step up a little more. CP3 also has to take a little bigger of a load as a shooter now. So we'll see.
Yo, that would suck so much if they were to lose my CP3. That would suck so much for him. He's actually healthy this time.
He's got bad luck. I don't know what it is. He's got the worst luck.
Bad luck started when they drew that Pelicans team. That was the worst thing that could have happened to them because, and we said it during the play-in, they would have much rather played the Clippers. I don't care that Paul Pandemic P would have been there. It would have been fine. But when you have CJ walking in there and you have BI walking in there and those guys are as good as they are offensively and they're a real 1-2 punch, like they're exactly what you need to be to win in a playoff series down the stretch. And it's funny because they're the exact opposite of like a team like Utah that doesn't have a 2. Or doesn't have they don't have a 2. They don't have a 2. So there's no one for Donovan to look at and be like, yo, I need a buck. We need a bucket. Help me out here. Or make an open shot in the corner because you're just like that. Like BI scoring off the catch, BI scoring off the dribble, and you got CJ coming in off of screens and hitting threes and being a menace, getting downhill. You got 2 guys that can score whenever they want, and then the rest of that team around them, Herb Jones and that rookie Murphy. Trey Murphy's really talented too, hitting shots like. That's what it's supposed to look like when you have a real 1-2 punch like that plays together. So, and they're not doubling anybody. The Suns aren't selling out to guard anyone either. That might change. I think they'll get desperate because it's going to get there. But this series is going at least 6, and and now that D-Book is out and it's all on CP, we'll see. I love CP, but I don't know that he handles this well on his own. And they play great as a team, Phoenix does, and that means something. But they could easily get bounced here too. Like they could get bounced in this series. It's crazy.
You know what's funny too, when you think about like the teams that struggle and the teams that are losing these games where they should be winning, it seems like it always comes down to role players, right? You know, KD's not hitting his shots and he's having a tough night, but no one else is there to step up. You know, same thing when Devin Booker goes out, like who do you go to? You know, CP3 didn't handle that, and like who else is going to step up? And you know, if the role players aren't stepping up, you're going to put yourself in a tough spot.
Yo, saying that's all facts. That literally just makes me thinking that old classic song. Who do you turn to when you need buckets? Because they ain't doing nothing else. There's no help coming with that. And the thing that's crazy is like you see everybody was picking Phoenix to go to the finals. Well, how they looking right now? They might get bounced. And if that's the case, are we then choosing Golden State as the favorite to get into the West? Because that DEFCON 5 look like they got something there with Jordan Poole. Look like they got a little something special with Jordan Poole over there. And Steph kind of look like he's shaping back into Steph. You know, regular season, he shot like 38% from 3, which is good for anybody that's not named Steph Curry. Golden State might be a team to watch out for because we already know Jokic going home.
For sure. I mean, at this point, I think it's going to be a sweep because the Nuggets just don't have anything to answer for Poole, Curry, Klay Thompson. They just have too much for this team. Like Jokic, he'll be the regular season MVP. But right now, you know, I don't really see much with this team to go off of at all. So we'll see.
I watched this series and I think to myself that Jokic deserves the MVP and no one else deserves a first place vote over him. Because for them to be here, it's an accomplishment. For them to be in this position, it's an accomplishment. They shouldn't even be in a seed and in a position to play against a team like the Warriors in the first round. And the fact that they are, when you see how shorthanded they are against a great team in the playoffs, and yet that team had won damn near 50 games because of one man, that's special. So yeah, he's the MVP. And if they had Jamal Murray, if they had MPJ, the series would be different. I think they could give the Warriors some trouble, but because of it, because they're shorthanded, they're going to go out in 4. But Jokic shouldn't hang his head about anything. And Malone's job is safe because your two of your best options are out. Like I said, if you don't have a number 2 or number 3, you're in trouble in the playoffs. And now the Warriors have a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And number 2 isn't Klay Thompson, it's Jordan Poole. Like that's how it's looking.
They got a 1A and 1B at this point.
That's what it's really looking like. Yeah, like
what it's looking like.
Poole's 1B.
He's like a budding superstar right now. Like,
yeah, he's looking like that. It's like that.
Ever since Steph Curry been out, even though he's been playing well this whole season, that almost gave him the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm that guy. Like, if they need me to, I can be one of the best players in the league right now. And these first 2 playoff games, you see it. He looks like the best player on the floor, along with Steph Curry. But when you see him out there, it's just you just laugh because it's like it's so natural. Like the fact that I don't know, people slept on him coming out. I don't know where he was drafted, but it definitely wasn't high enough.
No, he done Michigan.
It was because he was raw. He was raw coming out, and
yeah, probably second round pick.
It comes down to where you go. It always comes down to where you go.
Facts. A lot of times, we can go through every sport. It's a lot of players' careers that get derailed based off of where they get drafted, who's coaching, who's in that front office. And I just want to give a complete sidebar. I know Philly is up 2-0 in the series, but to just give some context of why we do not think that they're going to win the championship. It's 95-95. Tie game. You know what shot they got? They got a step back 3 from Joel Embiid.
Why? I don't
know.
Like,
you're not talking about the fat man fouling out either. He's out. He fouled out.
See, he fouled out. Hold on.
So he's too slow to play defense because he's too busy eating wings all the goddamn time, and now he fouled out of a big game. So there's that too. You asked me who won the trade. I guess Philly fans will tell you when they're pissed off at the end is who won the trade. Okay, well, we'll see.
Joel Embiid go up 3-0, then.
But still, bro, it's tied. It's tied. This is like when you at LA Fitness. You just need one bucket, bro. It's straight. You don't have to shoot a step back 3 and B. Like out of all people, Embiid took a step back 3 for the game. That's not even in his bag like that. Like I saw you did that a couple times with Harden when he came first to Philly, but that's not really your game.
No.
I can't trust Philly when that's the type of situation we got happening right now.
Are you going to talk about how the second best player on Philly's team is not James Harden, it's Tyrese Maxey? Tyrese Maxey is better at basketball than James Harden. Like that's what we're watching right now. That's really like you're not going to win a championship. It's just not going to happen. You traded the crib for James Harden, and James Harden isn't even your second best player. That's really what we're looking at right now in Philly. That's horrible, and it's only because it's all his fault. It's all his fault. He doesn't hold himself accountable, and so here we are. So you again, like this trade will be something you have to grade out over the years and all that stuff. I know if the Nets will bounce out in the first round right here, the hot thing to say will be they lost the trade, but I mean, Ben didn't even play and Ben will play 10 minutes when he comes back a game. So it is what it is. You didn't get to see the Nets healthy, but you're seeing these guys healthy. This is Philly. This is their team, full force, and they're not that good. They're not that good, and I don't know. I don't see an easy path for them to get better either. I don't, unless they go get Beal or something in some crazy blockbuster trade. But they got to come up off Maxey first. So we'll see. See.
That ain't happening. Like I said before, they're not letting him go.
Who?
Maxey.
All right. Well, then this is the team. So let's see what happens, because Doc Rivers is the one coach in the league I'd love to be down 2-0-2 right now. I wish Doc Rivers was still coaching the Celtics. I'd be real happy about it. That's the one guy who's real notorious for folding on 2-0 leads. So
if anybody's gonna go, it's gonna be Doc Rivers.
Yeah, but that won't solve their fat man problem. They got two fat guys.
But you remember, Daryl Morey is an enabler. It don't matter if the problem gets solved. We gotta scapegoat somebody, and it's not gonna be Harden. You know how
the real ones are gonna go after Harden, because Harden, a lot of this is his fault. He's got to wear a lot of this.
Yo, Maxey,
he has to wear more than the pounds he's put on.
Maxey is so good. Maxey is so good. Oh, Maxey is so good, because Harden ain't really doing nothing this whole series, and they might go up 3-0, but it's because of Maxey is so good. Another player that we talking about guards that's getting to it. Jalen Brunson, no Luka. And this man goes and dropped 41. No Luka, and Luka's supposed to come back game 3.
Not surprised. If you've been paying attention this season, you've been watching Jalen Brunson. He's the real deal. He's the real deal. He's in a command easily over $100 million. He's writing his own ticket, and he's out. He's really, what's crazy is he's playing his way out of Dallas, because Dallas can't afford to pay him that unless they come up off Spencer Dinwiddie and clear some space, and they might want to do that, honestly, because Jalen Brunson's a far better basketball player, and Jalen Brunson will be out there to be had this summer, and some lucky team will sign him, and he'll blossom and play good ball for them. Maybe the Pacers. Someone's going to throw an exorbitant amount of money at him. That's just going to be. The Pacers are interested, and you have Tyrese Halliburton. You get Jalen Brunson in there too, a 2-point guard system. It could be something. You know, I know you're thinking about your Knicks, Miles. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they already got Brogdon though.
Brogdon's gone. They don't want Brogdon. They want to shed the cow. They want to shed the salary and Buddy Hield.
So they shed his salary, which is probably going to be less than what they would have to pay Brunson.
If they bounce him and Buddy, they have the space. They want Buddy up out of there too. It's how looking at him smile. I would be too. Smile weird as hell.
All right, with Luka coming back though, do we see them as being a real threat in the West?
Possibly. Depends on how healthy he is, because I mean, you don't just heal from a calf strain like that in a week. So I'd be cautious. They split game 1 and game 2 with Utah. Now they're going back to Utah. I don't know if I'd play him in game 3, because I think Utah is kind of on their heels right now. Like, there's a lot of pressure on Utah right now to get out of this first round, just because of where they're at as a team, where Donovan Mitchell's at in his career. Possibly, if you don't win the series, he could ask out. I think that this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun to watch, because they're at a crossroads right now. Utah as a team, like Donovan Mitchell doesn't really have that much help. Their second highest paid player is Rudy Gobert. That's the best they could do. So, I mean, this team could go left really quickly, and it all depends on the series.
Utah's a dead body.
Well, yeah, and who wants to go to Utah? That's the thing. Nobody ever wants to go to Utah. They don't want to go to Portland. Like, these teams, they draft the good stars, but they can't bring other stars from other places to their city. So now you got maybe first round, second round exits every year. I don't know. I think Luka's gonna be Luka, but Jalen Brunson's shown that he can hold it down until he comes back healthy. Which, if you're gonna make a deep playoff run, you need Luka fully healthy. to go along with that 1-2 punch.
And we already talked about this, last episode. We see another bright spot. Obviously, Minnesota, that team belongs to Anthony Edwards. Ant Man is that dude. Memphis, they tied the series up. How do we see that one filling out right there? Ja Morant did his thing. Bang stepped up. The role players, as Chris mentioned, role players from Memphis actually showed up game 2. Memphis back on pace.
Yeah, I'm changing it from 4-1 to 4-2. I was a little hasty with that, so I'm changing my prediction.
I think Timberwolves are going to win both games at home.
Yeah,
I think that home crowd can give them so much energy. They're such a young team, and that home crowd hasn't had playoff basketball in like 40 years. They're every single nomad in Minnesota will come out to the game and be cheering them on, and they'll come out of their igloos and they'll be very excited to see some playoff basketball. So I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. We're going to see a very motivated and very hyped up team come out there and beat the brakes off the Grizzlies in two games. And again, guys like Pat Bev and guys like Anthony Edwards, those two guys feed, and even Cat, like they feed off of the energy. And maybe Cat got a little too excited in the last game and started fouling guys. You can feel it. Like you can see when the adrenaline's too much for them. So maybe he fouls out again. Who knows? With him, you never really know what you're going to get. But with guys like Anthony Edwards and D'Lo and those guys, they're going to feed off that crowd. They're going to beat them. I think they'll beat them both games at home. I really don't believe in the Grizzlies, and it's for the same reason I don't believe in Utah, and it's primarily because there's no number 2 there. There's nobody else. Ja doesn't have anybody else he can really trust. Desmond Bane is not there yet. He's just not there yet. He's a nice story, but he's not there yet at that level where you can trust him in the playoff series to get you buckets. So, yeah, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is a 7-footer who likes to take shots 40 feet away from the basket as opposed to being in front of the basket. So I can't trust you just by default. Sorry. And he shoots with 2 hands. So I gotta believe in Ant and D'Lo, and I'll ride that one till the wheels fall off.
And D'Lo ain't been doing anything though. Besides that play game, he's been real quiet.
Not yet. It's about to change. Just wait. He's gonna have 40,000 Native Americans cheering him on in Minnesota on whenever they play, and it's gonna be real crazy. And he's gonna go out there and play good basketball. You'll see.
Hey, Chris, you got Memphis getting out, or can Minnesota actually, as Greg is saying, push it to the brink and get Memphis out of there?
Look, man, we talked about role players, and when you don't have that second option, if Ja has a bad night, what you going to do, right? And you know what you're getting out of Pat Bev every night. You know the aggressiveness that he brings. He brings that Marcus Smart energy, that Celtics defense energy, and he's just a menace. He's going to get in your head. And, with guys like Cat looked good in game 1 until he started forcing shots at the end. I thought he got a little greedy, not sharing the ball around. But listen, when those guys are clicking on all cylinders, it's going to be tough because, again, Ja Morant's one person. And if he dropped 30 game 1, right? But if he's not hitting his shots, it's tough. So I got the Grizzlies.
Ooh.
I mean, the Timberwolves. My fault.
You good. Hey, we'll see what happens. I want to see Timberwolves win, but I don't know if it could happen. You feel me? Ja Morant and they boys, they played well. They role players did their part. So maybe they going, you feel me? Maybe it'll translate over into game 3. I think the X factor really is Cat, man. And Edwards going to show up, but Cat, as you mentioned, Greg, we don't know what we're going to get from Cat. And Cat is another one that he refuses to go in the paint. 7 feet and wants to be known as the best shooting big man.
And his playoff resume is not that great either. So we'll see.
He plays for an organization with a bad playoff resume. So I guess I'll give him a little pass on that. But he's a guy who you can't trust him in big moments. You just can't. You don't know what you're gonna get from him. He played well in game 1. I just think that the Grizzlies are relying on guys that are unproven. And I know the Timberwolves are too. They are. They're both unproven teams. But Anthony Edwards' irrational confidence will rub off on anybody the right way. And I think that's going to be the difference in the series. It's his team. And when you're as confident as Anthony Edwards is, I mean, anything's possible. Anything's possible. So I'll give them the edge for real. I think they're gonna win 2 games at home. I think guys like Bane and their role players, Zaire Williams, whoever they play, whoever they throw out there, they're gonna struggle. Those guys struggle on the road. Role players struggle on the road. Like it's a very difficult thing in the playoffs to play on the road as a role player. So we'll see. Historically, that's just the way it works in playoff basketball, though.
I know Miles probably already saw it. Give y'all an update. I knocked him on it, but Embiid just hit a 3-pointer to go up 3 with 0.7 left in the game, and it's looking like Philly's about to go up 3 over Toronto by a Joel Embiid 3-pointer, which is it went in, but it's part of the problem, bro. We don't have any big men that like to get in the paint no more. They all 7 threes.
They're handling their business. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They drew a nice little matchup round 1. So take care of business, beat the Raptors. I'm just saying, whoever you see next they're packing you up because Harden's not Harden, and that's gonna matter when you play a team that's serious. When you play a Miami team, when you play the Bucks or Bulls, whoever comes out of that series, that's not a given. I'm just saying that series is not a given. When you play the Celtics, or you look like the Celtics, I can't say anything about the stupid ass Nets at this moment, but use the Celtics, like you play them, you're it's in a matter that the guy you're gonna pay $60 million a year to over the next 7 years is out of shape and fat and not ready to play basketball every night. It's gonna matter. It's gonna matter at some point, and Philly fans are going to turn on him. They're gonna start throwing cheesesteaks at him, and James Harden will be picking them up and taking them home for dinner. And that will be the situation we're dealing with. But they're gonna start throwing hella peppers and onions at that dude.
Well, it's final. Philly won. They up 3-0. And you mentioned the Bucks series. The Bucks
series is not a given. Yeah.
They on some nonsense again. Yet again, Chris Middleton.
About the Bucks.
Chris Middleton isn't showing up.
I've been telling y'all about them. I've been telling y'all about. I've never been a Bucks believer at any point. I never. They shouldn't have beat us last year, and I'll stand on that. 2 injuries, and they're in the finals. And now everybody's talking about them like they're some favorite. Okay, when Drew gets in the playoffs, he gets real tight offensively, can't make a shot. Except for in the playoffs, that man struggles offensively. Chris is just hit or miss. And Giannis, if you keep him out the paint, I'm sorry, even with the made jumps as a regular season, playoffs is a different ball game. He's not making those shots at the same clip he was making in the regular season. I'm not a Bucks believer. The Bulls could bounce them. If DeMar doesn't go DeFrozen on us again, they could bounce them.
Hey, so far DeMar said that he would not shoot that poorly again. Right now, 6 for 12, 17 points.
Yeah, they're gonna get a dub on the road today. They're gonna dub on the road.
That's not good for Milwaukee. You splitting right there. But that's the NBA playoffs, man. It's some of the best time of year, bro. You already know we're going to be still talking about this basically every episode to the finals, all the different matchups, all the things that's happening, the X factors, the upsets. But it just seems like this year, NFL is just like, hold up. We got something to say. We have something to say. The NFL offseason just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. We have now the wide receivers. Everybody want to get paid. Everybody want to get paid. So you have wide receivers that are saying, we not going to training camp. We not doing the involuntary workouts till we get a new contract. One of the names out there is Deebo Samuel, who just requested a trade. If I'm San Fran and y'all tell me where y'all heads is at, I'm not trading Deebo. I will do everything in my power not to trade him. We can, what you want? You want dinner? You want an extra meal? You want some money? We could renegotiate. If you're San Fran, you cannot trade Deebo. There's no way. Outside of George Kittle, Deebo is the offense.
That's facts. But if you San Fran, you need to get him on the line fast because this man already on Instagram removing his pictures with his jersey on him, took the team's name out the bio. He not playing no games, man. He want to get paid. And you can thank Christian Kirk for getting 72 mil. You can thank Tyreek Hill for getting 120. You can thank Devontae Adams for getting the bag. Stephon Diggs for getting the bag. Like, yo, the wide receiver market right now is popping. And if I'm a wide receiver and I've proven myself and I want to get an extension, like I'm doing it now. And Deebo Samuel, you know what you're getting out of him. He's so versatile. Like, this man can play quarterback. He threw 6 touchdowns last year, ran for 8. Like, he's a beast. Like, he's a running back. He's a wide receiver. He's a damn near quarterback. Like, and then Terry McLaurin, like all these other players, Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, like these players have been doing it consistently year after year, especially Terry. Like, he's just been on a booty team. So it's time to pay these wide receivers. But in terms of who's going to get it first, who knows? But Deebo's definitely well deserving just because of his like unique ability to play multiple positions and be a dual threat.
Greg Miles, y'all playing GM. You the GM of the 49ers. Are y'all kissing his butt trying to make this right by any means, or you getting him up out of here?
It depends on where he's at with his head. If I'm down, I'm calling the Jets. I'm like, yo, give me one of your first round picks. Give me a second. We can make this thing happen. Because if you get one of the Jets' first round picks, you're in a position to go get Drake London and go get one. Garrett will get the guy from Ohio State. Can't remember his Wilson. I don't remember his name.
Garrett Wilson, yeah.
Garrett Wilson. You go get him. You're all right. Like, you can retool this thing. Football's different. Guys are a little bit more expendable in football than in basketball. Or like one guy doesn't make your team. Now, Deebo is 60% of their offense. Yeah, he has the ball 60% of the time, but that's part of the problem. I'm sure when they went to the contract negotiations, they try to give him a really good elite running back money instead of paying him like a wide receiver. They try to use it as leverage. Like, hey, you play running back 90% of the time, whatever, this percent of the time, we're gonna pay you on running back scale. I'm sure that's probably what happened. They disrespected him when he's at the table the first time.
Facts.
It's hard to come back from when you do that, and you use his versatility against him in contract talks just because you want to save a penny. You pay for it. They deserve what's happening right now. This is probably unsalvageable. We're in an era where athletes are taking control of their careers. If you keep him on your team, he may not play football for you next year. He could just sit out. He's more than willing to save a year on his body. You know what I mean? Deebo, for him, it's more important than anybody else. The way they use him, for him to get his money now, because his career is going to be shortened by the way they use him. He have him running in between the tackles. We saw in that game against the Rams in the playoffs, they were running in between tackles like he was Jerome Bettis or something like that. Like, that's the way they use him. So he has to get his money up front. And right now, and if a team like the Jets is willing to pay him, and you're willing to and you can trade him out of the conference, who loses? You lost a little bit, but you get a first round pick, a premier first round pick, which the Jets, I think they come up off that pick because they already lost Tyreek Hill. Now they won't be gunshot in this deal. I think that's the way you go. The Jets are a primary location, and I know the Jets love Deebo, and you get Zach Wilson, a guy who can make it more efficient. It makes a lot of sense.
And I think that's where Deebo's mindset's at too, because he knows his career's been, riddled by injuries, especially the past 2 seasons, like 300 and something yards 2 years ago, 800 something yards last year, but he went nuclear this year. So he's like, yeah, I need my money right now. 1,400 something yards, bro. Like, come on.
Well, what's Miles' thoughts? You giving up one of the first round picks for Deebo?
I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool to give up one of the picks. I don't know. First round pick. We'll see. Because we didn't have to give up that much for Tyreek Hill. So is Tyreek Hill not better than Deebo?
You guys lost out on Tyreek Hill. The reason why you didn't get him,
he had a no trade clause, and he picked the package that Miami offered him. We offered him less than.
Miami had a better deal on the table, though. Miami still had a better deal on the table, though.
Yeah, but it was a no trade clause. If he picked New York, he would have been in New York. He picked Miami.
I'm saying, though, the deal that Miami offered was stronger because they offered a first round pick.
I thought they offered the same deal.
It wasn't the same deal. They just offered a bunch of seconds.
They offered that late first round pick, which, I mean, that's cool. But we got 2 second round picks, which are pretty much like late first round picks, if you think about it. So I'd say those 2 picks, maybe a third round pick, should get the deal done because, one, you still have to pay him upwards of like $25 million, which is what the going rate is for what people consider elite receivers at this point. So
there's no player you can get in the first round that's better than Deebo Samuel, though.
Yeah, but if we could offer that same package for AJ Brown, I'd rather AJ Brown because I think he's a better receiver and he's younger. AJ Brown's only 24. Deebo's pushing 27 now, which I mean that's pulling hairs, but in the NFL, careers are a lot shorter. Deebo plays a lot tougher of a position where he's both running back and receiver. So I don't. It'd be cool. Like I said, it'd be cool, but I'd also be fine with us drafting a receiver at 10, keeping those picks, because that's what we need. We need depth everywhere, like literally. So we can afford to take a risk and send some picks for a player, but unless it's like an elite receiver, then I'm not giving up that 10th pick.
It's a lot of slander for Deebo Samuel. That's crazy.
How about to say you wouldn't call Samuel an elite receiver?
Yeah, you said elite. Like we're not talking about Deebo Samuel. Deebo.
But we were just in on Tyreek Hill, who I mean he's top 2, and he might not be 2. He could be 1. So,
all right, where do you put Deebo? Because Deebo, I think what happened too, kind of
top 10. He's top 10 receiver right now.
I think what Greg alluded to, what happened in those contract negotiations, either they offered it to him as a running back or they offered to him as a wide receiver. Either way, they didn't offer him what he felt. Bro, I'm playing quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. You
better combine all 3.
It makes your team so much better. Just on arrival.
Better pay that way. I'm doing 3 things for y'all. I have Jimmy G as a quarterback, and I'm about to try to give me Trey Lance, who is unproven right now. Pay me my money. And as you mentioned, Greg, he runs through the tackles. I'm literally risking my career every day running through the tackles as if I'm Marshawn Lynch. And you want me to go catch the ball. And occasionally I'm going to go throw the ball. Pay me accordingly. Don't offer me like I'm Tyreek Hill. No, I actually think Deebo, because he does so much for San Fran,
better player.
You got to pay him more than that. Now, if he comes to the Jets and they like, yo, we want you to just play wide receiver, then maybe pay him that way. But San Fran, no. He plays 3 positions for y'all. Pay that man accordingly.
I don't think you can pay him as he's gonna break the market. It's gonna be a weird deal because he said hybrid players aren't. It's like it's like Otani in baseball. Like you can't pay him like he's a great hitter and because he's gonna go out and be a Cy Young guy too. So you gotta be. It's a very different type of negotiation, and the Jets have to be open to breaking the bank for him if they're gonna trade for him. But this idea that he's not worth the first. Okay, all right. I mean, sure. Look, and by the way, if the Jets don't want to do it, there'll be 20 other teams in line. They'll offer their first time to do it.
We say that's that, fine. but 35 and 38, which is the 2 second-round picks we have, is worth like a mid first-round pick. So, I mean, if you're thinking about it like that, then I don't think
quality of player in this draft drops off significantly after pick 20. I think we all know that. Okay, that's the way this thing's gonna work. So if you're not picking in the top 20, if you want to get cheap on me, Miles, that's fine.
Get cheap.
You're gonna lose.
We need to build the defense.
That's fine. That's fine.
We need to build the defense too. What we couldn't stop a nosebleed last year. Cornerbacks were linebackers were So are we really in a position where we can, do that?
2 first rounders, bro. You can give up one of the first rounders for Deebo Samuel and still build your defense. It's okay. I'm telling you, bro. But it's okay. It's all right. Look, it's fine. We'll find someone else to do the deal. It's fine. We don't got to deal with y'all. We got the Jaguars on this line. We got the Texans on this line. We got Team B on this line. It's fine. They'll figure it out. They don't need your pick. It's just I'm telling you, you may want to consider. You have 2 first. You're picking from a luxury position right now. You have 2 first round picks. How many years do you have 2 first round picks and you don't need a quarterback? That's what I'm saying. You're in a luxury spot right now. You trade one of those first round picks. You put it in a package for Deebo Samuel. It'll pay itself off. This is immediate return on investment right there. But that's fine. It's okay. Go draft some cornerback out of Washington. Let's see how it works out for next year. It's fine. No big deal.
Hey, yo, before we end the show real quick. So Cat was on I Am Athlete. He mentioned that he'll be a backup quarterback, which is around like 160K or something like that. Nothing too crazy. I might be wrong on the numbers, but it's nowhere near what he was offered when it was a 2-year, I believe, $20 million contract. He turned it down. Do we see Cap back in the league? And does Cap have some accountability he has to do and looking in the mirror of not being back in the league? In y'all opinion?
Oh,
That's a
that
loaded question.
yeah.
Wow.
We'll start with the turning down the deal in 2016. He was still playing, correct? When he got that deal, when he turned down the 2 years, 14 million.
Let me check that for you. I believe so.
I think he was still on the Niners when they offered him that 2 year, $14 million deal. And if that was the case and he turned it down, like I don't think you can fault him for that now because he couldn't foresee what was going to happen. He couldn't foresee himself getting, banned from the league and having all this unfold. I mean, how can you think that taking a knee is gonna, change the course of your career and have you not play? So I don't think we can knock him for not taking that deal now. It obviously sucks over the course of what happened, but is he going to be back in the league? I don't know. I think the most logical place for him to go was Seattle, and they just extended
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith today and made him a member of the team.
That's
So it's
scary.
like, and he's been a solid backup, over the course. He's proved himself over the past 2 years. So it's well deserving for Geno Smith, but like, according to what they were saying on I Am Athlete about Cap, he's still slinging that thing. But again, like those aren't in-game situations. That you're not having a line coming after you, so it's hard to tell, and it's going to be an uphill battle for him. Obviously, having been out of the league for the past 5 years, like it's not going to be easy for him to come back from. Also, suing the NFL, they don't want you back.
2016, he was playing. To give the exact numbers, minimum salary as a backup QB would be $660,000. He turned down the $14 million 2-year deal.
Is that before he kneeled or
Because he wanted
before
to
he
start.
kneeled or after?
It had to have been before he kneeled. It had to.
It was before the kneel.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. I don't blame him
You
at
can't.
all. I don't. That's BS because his agent could have been
career before that.
exactly. His agent could have been like, no, turn that down. You're gonna have a good year. We're gonna get 3 years and X amount of dollars, whatever you're looking for. So there's no way he's at fault for that. There's no way he's at fault for that at all, for the fact that his career was derailed. And honestly, if he'd signed that deal in the moment, I have a feeling they would have found no loophole to get him up out of there regardless. The contracts are not totally guaranteed. I know there's a quarterback, so it might have been more guaranteed money. They might have just paid him up front to leave. Like that's how bad it was at the time. And I think they would have found a way out of it. So yeah, there's no way. We can't hold. I'm not gonna hold that against him. I'm not holding anything against Cap. Cap's a hero. Cap's a superhero, real life, like period. So there's that. Also, sorry, what Chris said, he deserves a chance to play in the NFL, 100%. I've seen the video of him throwing. I've been paying attention to that. His arm is he's still got one of the best arms in the world. His arm is incredible. The ball just jumps out of his hands like in a way that most quarterbacks can't do it. Like it's him, Josh Allen, like he's in that Aaron Rodgers, he's in that conversation with the arm. So yeah, he just has a real chance. He just has a real chance to go compete. And Seattle signed Geno Smith. So what? He sucks. Like you can go compete with Geno Smith. It's not that big of a deal. Like it's Geno Smith. Is anything really safe over there? In fact, I think it would behoove this to Seattle to go bring this guy in and let those three guys compete. That's probably the best you can do. Let the best man win because that quarterback situation is going to be real ugly football up in Seattle this year. And they're not even in on Baker. Baker's probably going to go to the Panthers the way this thing's looking. So, Seattle, what are we really doing? Like, if you don't sign Cap, you just look stupid. The league's already looked stupid for years. So there's that too. But the guy deserves a chance.
Miles, Denzel Ward, overpaid, market price.
I mean, market price. I think he's an up-and-coming corner in this league. He's young. They use a top 5 pick on him, and I mean, just a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's kind of given them what they were expecting out of him. He's been able to lock down most teams' number 1 receiver.
Except Jamar.
So, I mean, that's just about what you get there. So, what'd you say? You said something about Jamar.
I said except Jamar.
Except Jamar. You and Greg somehow always bring it back to y'all teams.
This is far worse than I am with that. You can talk about anything. Chris gonna talk about a damn Wildcat.
Get out of here, bro. Bro, all summer last year, every podcast we talked about the Giants in some capacity when they weren't even on the docket, bro.
Yeah, but at least they're the Giants. Like, you're talking about the Bengals.
Nah, here you go.
Like,
But yeah, you got to lock up your assets, and he's a top cornerback in this league, so I think it's fair. I mean,
Well-
it's funny they just gave him a little more than Jalen Ramsey, so next time he comes around for his bread, he needs that bag for sure.
The market is changing all over the NFL.
expect these teams to start drafting guys, wide receivers, corners. They're going to start going more aggressively in the draft. You'll see a lot of movement in the draft for teams to try to fill needs because they don't want to pay these guys top dollar. That's what's going to end up happening. And then there'll be some aggressive team like the Jaguars or like the Giants last year that will spend a lot of money and they'll pick up the scraps and sign guys that are proven. So we'll see. There's no right way or wrong way to build your team as long as you win games. But
yesterday's price is not today's price.
Mhm.
That is the theme in the NFL right now. That's what's going on this whole offseason.
That's the title of this podcast.
Facts. And with these 3 wide receivers, big-time wide receivers, all wanting new contracts, trust and believe we're going to have more to talk about. This NFL offseason has been the craziest one in our history. And it's still getting crazy because we got the draft next week. We're going to have a show talking about the draft, talking about everybody's team, certain picks, first round. We're going to break it down for y'all in multiple ways. But y'all know the vibes. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench mob, we out. Peace.
Peace.